Hi, my name is Amy Knack. I'm a printmaker and owner of Wingtip Press, a small community press in Boise, Idaho. Today I'm here to tell you about Speedball's new gel plate. This is their 5x7. The gel plate comes packed in a clamshell. Once you open it, you'll find you have instructions, and the plate is wrapped in a sheet of Mylar front and back. I always put these with the plate before I get to work so that they're there ready for me when it's time to clean up and put my plate away. Let's get into talking about the inks that we're working with today. We're working with Akua Intaglio inks. We have the yellow, the Hansa yellow, the magenta, and the ultramarine blue. These Intaglio inks are just absolutely wonderful professional inks that stay open a long time. Where I live in Boise, Idaho, and it's very, very dry, the fact that I can leave these jars open in my studio, not waste a bit, and have them ready for me to work is marvelous. Plus, I'm getting that professional quality of inks with the beautiful pigment load that you have in the inks and the luminosity of the colors once they hit the paper. In addition, we've got the Akua liquid pigment here in black, and I'm going to be demonstrating that a little bit later on how you can turn these inks into shades of color, adding just a touch of black. And the blending medium, which works to make the inks act like watercolors, so you can paint directly on the plate. And for those of you that like that painterly look on your plates, you're going to be so pleased about the ability to use that blending medium with your Akua inks. I like to use just wooden stir sticks for applying my ink, so I'll just set one of these in each of these jars. So today we're going to be printing with just some artifacts. I've pulled a little rabbit fern from my houseplant at home, and this is going to make some really beautiful details. This is a favorite little antique jar that I have, and you're going to see how it makes some really beautiful marks. Printmakers are mark makers, and we're always looking for things to make beautiful marks, and with the gel plate, you don't have to worry about the item going through a press. You're able to get a wonderful impression of that for your printing. So let's start. I'm going to put a little bit of the blue ink out. And I like using the little sticks because I can control the amount of ink that I put down. Let's roll some of that out. And using the brayer, I just like to roll and lift to distribute the ink really nicely. I like a really nice, clean, smooth background. And we're just putting blue on half of the plate, and now we'll use a little bit of the magenta on the other side. I'll take a different roller to get that on, but we could use the same brayer, and that would allow us to blend the colors, and I might do that here in just a minute. But let's get the magenta down in case I want to use just a clean magenta brayer later. Oh, look at that. It's blending the colors beautifully. I love the Akua inks. I live in the high desert of Boise, Idaho, and finding an ink that will work as a professional ink in my printmaking, no matter if it's intaglio, gel printing, or whatever, these inks are luscious. They're loaded with pigment. They stay open for a really long time, which is a huge advantage where I live. And they give you a professional quality that I don't think can be matched by any oil-based inks. Let's start putting some artifacts down here. The bottom of this jar has got a very interesting design, so I'm just going to push that into the plate, and maybe I'll put a little bit over here. And I have some ink left on here, which might be useful later on. And of course, the edge of the jar can also give us a mark. Ooh, I can't wait to see this. Okay, and then I have a little thing from an earring that I thought would make a beautiful mark, because the gel plate, the fidelity to details that you can get is unmatched, and so I want to be able to show you just how beautifully the ink and the gel plate work together to get a lovely impression. So there's my leaf. I've got my little charm on there. I've lifted off ink with the jar. Let's print. So this is the Speedball Bristol paper, smooth Bristol paper, and it's a wonderful paper for printing on the gel. Okay, I've got it down. I'm going to find my little charm on there, give it some extra attention, and then just using the Baron, we're going to go from corner to corner and make sure we cover the whole area. Now if you're not sure, you can always just lift up the edge because of the surface tension of the ink on the paper will hold everything in place. And I can see that I can probably get a little bit more detail out of that if I give it some extra attention. Okay, let's pull it and see. Beautiful. Now I can see the detail coming through on that little charm, and because that little rabbit fern is so lacy, we're getting really beautiful marks in there. And then look how the jar has just lifted that ink for us with the circle. Now sometimes you can put a little bit more ink on there, and when you do that, you get this interesting halo around the artifacts that you put on there. If I put less ink on, I would probably have less of that halo, but it adds some interest to that print. I think that's really lovely. Now I'm going to lift my little rabbit fern and pull up my charm, and let's lift a little more ink off. Let's accent the charm on there. Maybe a bit right there. The Akua inks blend together so beautifully. This purple that we're getting, I'm just really, it's scrumptious. I think we're going to love it. So let's take an impression of this one. Lining it up to the paper I have beneath is just a really easy, simple registration. Taking my Baron, I'm going to rub all four corners, making sure I'm getting every bit of ink on there. Lift. Wow, look at that. So I still have ink left on there. What I'm going to do is put my leaf down again, take a clean piece of paper, and let's take an impression again. I'm going to use the Baron, make sure I'm getting to all four corners. And now I'm going to take a peek, and where I've put that fern down, I'm going to just lift it up, and it'll be in the same position, and we're going to have all that beautiful detail on the detail print here. Very light, very soft. Let's just look at the three of them together. So we've got our two detailed impressions. We've got our negative positive print. Well, now it's time for cleanup. I love baby wipes. So let's just get rid of the ink on the jar. That looks pretty clean. I can use a piece of paper, and I think I'm going to just take one more ghost of this. That helps clean the plate so that you're not spending so much time cleaning, and you might be surprised to just get one more beautiful little ghost that can become the basis of another print. Very soft and subtle, but I can see some possibilities for that, so I'm glad I didn't waste it on newsprint. Then I'm taking my baby wipe, and I always make sure I get to the corners because ink really likes to hide on the edges of the plate. So this magenta, the color is so saturated and beautiful. It's left a little bit of the color onto the plate, and if that bothers you, then just use a little baby oil and it'll come sparkling clean again, although it won't impact the future impressions. So let's put it away. And then we're going to clean our brayers. Oh, don't forget the instructions. I'm just going to set it on there for that right now instead of... Okay, handful of luscious prints. Ooh, don't you just love the way those colors blend together? Ooh, not bad.